Okay, so you know how sometimes you make choices and you're like, ugh, if I only knew then what I know now.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what we're diving into today, turning those if-only moments into wisdom.
Right.
We're looking at John C. Maxwell's books, Sometimes You Win, Sometimes You Learn. And he basically argues that those facepalm moments might actually be our best teachers.
It's funny because what I found really interesting is that Maxwell actually uses his own mistakes to kind of drive home his points.
Oh, totally.
You realize that even like wildly successful people make mistakes, but it's what you do after the mistake that really matters.
Exactly. He's not afraid to be vulnerable at all. He tells this story about accidentally bringing a gun to the airport.
Oh, no.
Yeah, in his briefcase. He'd gotten it as a gift for his wife and totally forgot about it.
Oh, wow.
Can you picture it?
Yeah, security checkpoint metal detector.
Exactly.
That's got to be so embarrassing.
But here's the thing. Instead of freaking out or trying to, downplay it, he owned up to it.
Good for him.
Took responsibility, and even managed to find the humor in it. He even put a note in his briefcase afterwards that said, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn.
I love that.
Isn't that great?
It's such a good reminder that failure isn't like the opposite of success. It's part of the journey.
Right.
And that's really like Maxwell's core message. Most
Yeah.
people are so afraid of failing, but successful people see it as a chance to learn and get better. They understand that every mistake is like a little lesson.
Yeah, it's so easy to blame everything else, right? The market crashed or my boss is terrible.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We've all been there. But Maxwell actually uses the story of Ted Williams,
Oh, yeah.
the homeless man with that amazing voice,
Yes.
to show how important it is to take responsibility.
That's a great example because Williams could have easily blamed like his circumstances, for his struggles,
Of course.
but he owned his choices and used that to rebuild his life.
That's true.
It reminds me that we can't always control what happens to us, but we can control how we react.
And taking responsibility is really just the first step, right?
Uh-huh.
Maxwell says it's not about expecting to change overnight, but making small improvements over time.
It's a process, not like a one-time thing. It's
Yeah.
like working out. You don't get ripped by lifting one heavy weight one time. You have to keep at it consistently.
Totally. He even uses Walter Cronkite as an example.
The news anchor.
Yeah, the legendary news anchor.
Yeah.
He wasn't just born a broadcasting icon. He had this awful experience on air where he wasn't prepared at all, and it totally flopped.
Wow, so even Walter Cronkite messed up.
Right.
That's kind of encouraging in a way.
It is. It shows that even the best people have setbacks, but they use them to get better, which ultimately leads to success.
So what you're saying is even Walter Cronkite had his deer in the headlights moment.
Exactly.
It makes you think, are you setting yourself up for success or are you just winging it and hoping for the best?
Yeah, are you prepared or not?
Yeah.
Because preparation and consistent effort can make all difference.
Huge difference.
This brings us to another really important point. Hope. Maxwell says hope isn't just some fluffy feeling. It's like a strategic tool. It's what keeps us going when things get tough.
I think hope helps us see that things can get better even when it feels impossible.
Yes.
It's like that saying, where there's a will, there's a way. But I think hope is what gives you that will.
I agree. He tells the story of Jim Abbott, the baseball player, who only had one hand.
I remember him.
His parents always told him he could achieve anything he wanted.
Wow.
And despite facing huge challenges, he had an amazing career in Major League Baseball.
It's like proof that you can do anything you set your mind to, even if people tell you you can't.
Exactly.
It makes you wonder, how can you use that same hope to help you reach your goals? What are you telling yourself you can't do?
That's the question.
When really you probably could if you set your mind to it and had that hope to fuel you.
Exactly.
But hope's not just about like overcoming your own limitations.
Right.
Maxwell says it's also crucial for tackling any obstacle, big or small. He thinks successful people don't just like avoid problems. They actually see them as opportunities.
That's such a good point.
Yeah.
He tells this crazy story about building a church in California.
Okay.
It turned into this 17-year ordeal.
Wow.
They ran into every obstacle you can imagine.
Like what?
Financial issues, environmental concerns, even historical artifacts showing up right where they were trying to build.
That's insane.
It was. But the point is, Maxwell and all the church members could have given up so many times.
Yeah.
But they didn't. They chose to face each problem head on, learn from their setbacks, and eventually they reached their goal.
It shows that giving up isn't the answer.
Exactly.
Think about a problem you're dealing with right now in your own life. It could be anything. A relationship, a career problem, a bad habit. What if instead of seeing it as a dead end, you saw it as a chance to learn and grow?
Yeah, to come out stronger on the other side.
Exactly.
Maxwell also talks about how important it is to learn from the experiences that just feel awful.
The ones you just want to forget ever happened.
Right. He shares this other briefcase story.
Oh, another one.
Yeah, this time he actually lost his entire manuscript for a book he was working on.
Oh my gosh, every writer's worst nightmare.
I know. He was devastated, ready to
Holy-
give up. But his friend, thankfully, who was much calmer,
Yeah.
kept looking
Oh.
and eventually found it.
Wow, what a relief.
Right. It made me realize that sometimes our emotions can really cloud our judgment.
Oh, for sure.
And we need to step back, take a breath, and look at the situation before reacting.
It's all about resilience.
Yeah,
Setbacks happen, but it's how we deal with them that matters.
it's true.
Do they crush us, or do we use them to learn and grow?
Think about a bad experience. You've had something that felt like a failure at the time. Looking back, did it teach you something? Did it actually shape you in a positive way?
Interesting.
And here's the thing that really got me. Maxwell says winning is amazing, obviously,
Of course.
but it can also make us complacent.
We just get comfortable and stop trying.
Exactly. He argues that true success is about never stopping learning,
Always trying to get better.
even when you're at the top of your game.
Yeah. So it's not about like dismissing winning altogether.
Right.
It's about recognizing that the process of getting better is just as important as the victory itself.
He uses this analogy of a grandfather playing chess with his grandson.
Okay.
The kid just wants to win,
Yeah.
but the grandfather sees the bigger picture. He knows that even losing can be valuable if it teaches you something new.
That's a good way to look at it.
It reminds us that there's always more to learn no matter how much we think we know.
So true.
Think about an area in your life where you feel like you've already won. Is there a way to keep learning and growing in that area?
Yeah.
What if you approached it like a beginner again, eager to discover new things?
I like that.
This all leads into what Maxwell calls climbing your Mount Everest.
Okay.
He challenges us to find that one big goal, that ambitious dream we're willing to climb, for knowing that the journey itself will teach us the most.
So it's not just about the destination, it's
Right.
about the climb.
Exactly. Your Mount Everest doesn't have to be literal. It could be anything. Starting a business, writing a book, mastering a new skill, becoming a better you. The point is, it's something that pushes you out of your comfort zone and requires you to learn and grow even when it's tough.
It makes you wonder, what's your Mount Everest?
Yeah.
What's that one goal you'd give anything for, knowing that the journey, with all its ups or downs, is what will truly change you?
It really makes you think, what is that thing for you? What's your Mount Everest?
Yeah.
And I think what's so cool about that whole idea is that it's not just about the destination, it's about the journey.
Totally. Because let's be real, reaching the top, achieving that goal is awesome, but it doesn't last forever.
Right.
The real growth, the real transformation happens on the way there.
Exactly. It's about the things you learn, the resilience you build, the person you become as you go through all those ups and downs.
Yeah, those are the things that stick with you long after the excitement of reaching the goal has faded.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into John C. Maxwell's, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. I think the big takeaway for me is this: setbacks are going to happen. They're just part of life.
Yeah, you can't avoid them.
But how you choose to respond to those setbacks, that's what really matters.
So embrace those stumbles. See them as chances to learn and grow. Take responsibility for your choices, even when it's tough, and never stop learning.
Right. Even when you think you know it all.
Exactly. There's always more to learn.
And keep that Mount Everest in sight.
Yeah.
Whether it's a real mountain or a metaphorical one, having that big, ambitious goal gives you something to aim for, gives you a reason to keep pushing forward, even when you want to give up.
Because in the end, it's not just about getting to the top. It's about who you become along the way.
That's a great way to put it.
Thanks.
Well, that about wraps it up for this deep dive. I hope everyone listening learned something valuable from our look at John C. Maxwell's book. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn.
Me too.
Remember, setbacks are inevitable, but it's how we respond to them that defines our journey. So embrace the stumbles, take responsibility, and never stop learning. And most importantly, keep climbing your own Mount Everest, whatever that may be.